Hello guys, how you all doing? Great to have you here. Thank you so much for joining me. So I have a video here that I would love to react to from Candace Owens, and it says, "Is this what MLK fought for?" Question, guys. Let's find out what the video is all about.
You know, you know what I think? I think after a lot of years, Black America is coming around to Candace Owens. I see the posts, people finally starting to listen a little bit to what I have been saying. They thought that I was so against them when I was just trying to expose the fact that Democrats were getting bored with Black America and we're going to eventually.
One thing about Candice is that she's always ahead. She's always 5 steps ahead. What a brilliant, brave woman. Black Americans should be proud of her. To be honest, she's representing so well.
Import tons of illegals to replace Black Americans. Essentially, our vote wasn't going to matter anymore. I can't even state how many times I said this on the road, and I was met with roars boos from Black America that were so seized by the BLM narrative that they didn't realize what was happening. Well, now Biden is president. Of course, they are flooding millions of illegals into America, dropping them off in inner cities. Black Americans seem to suddenly be waking up. Take a listen to what this Chicago resident had to say in a press conference.
Politically, having over 500 people in our community would completely wipe out any interest we have. Are you aware that there are immigrant advocates at state houses all over this country who are advocating for non-citizen voting in local elections? What if that happened here?
Guys, where is it done? This is so unbelievable.
That would change the mindset of what we as a Black community need to thrive here in Chicago. That's a concern of ours. This is much bigger than the mayor of Chicago or Chicago Police Department.
Wow.
This is an effort to destroy our neighborhoods and silence our voices even further.
Man, that's a lot of words to say. I'm sorry, Candace Owens, that we haven't been listening for the last 8 years as we've castigated you and tons of other Black American conservatives that have been pointing out this predicament. Now, it remains to be seen whether or not it is simply too late. As I said, they are ushering in millions and millions of illegal aliens. And of course, the Black America is going to be the first part of America to be impacted by this. They're obviously going to give these illegals welfare, because welfarism was always the name of the game. Get Black Americans addicted to small handouts, break down their families, and essentially marry them to the government. And whose idea was this? Well, we can't blame it on a ton of people, but we can at least look at life in America for Black Americans before the civil rights protests and Lyndon Baines Johnson and the Great Society Act. Let's actually look back to 1930s. Harlem, obviously, it has always been a historically Black neighborhood in New York City. I'm going to show you images of Black America. Again, this is when there was racial segregation. Take a look. So what we are seeing here, again, this is the 1930s in Harlem, is a certain decorum, civilized. That's the only word that I would use to describe what we are seeing. Black Americans dressed to the nines. Who knows where they're going? Probably to work. Of course, during this time, Black American families were together. You see police officers on the street, but it doesn't really seem like they have much to be doing because, as I said, these Black Americans have a certain decorum to them. The gentlemen are wearing hats and suits. The ladies are wearing dresses and heels, also wearing hats. This is not a place that I would be fearful to travel alone, whether it was daytime or nighttime. My, how time has changed. We know that simply is not the circumstance in Black America today. We know that if you went into a Black neighborhood in an inner city, you would see things very differently. We also know that bizarrely there's a sense of entitlement when it comes to Black America. At the very same time that we are insisting upon this victim narrative, which has been taught to us by Black Lives Matter, diversity, equity, inclusion departments. Oh, Black America, nothing is ever your fault. The reality, we hold a lot of.
If it's about entitlement mentality, is common with the Blacks, even in Africa. It's prevalent.
Power in this country. All we have to do is throw out the accusation of racism. People are fearful to tell us that what we are doing is wrong because, again, they will just be labeled as racist. And who wants that? Especially if you're a white American. I was absolutely shocked by what I saw of this clip that took place in an airport somewhere recently here in America. This is a black man rapping because there are no rules, apparently, if you're a black American and you are in an airport. Take a look.
Bro, you want me to save her? No, mama, you better off saving yourself. I was just stuck in the hood and breaking the crib. Fans, I got the whole city lit. I got the whole city lit. No, I'm the next one to get rich. No, I'm the next one to get rich. This thought I was falling in love.
Oh my God,
I'm leaving you.
Oh,
get out of your feelings, let's get it together as soon as you get it. We taking a trip. I think I'm jealous.
No. This is all shades of wrong. This is wrong. This is wrong. This is unacceptable. How did we get here? If everyone should come out and start rapping in the public domain, there will be chaos everywhere.
She like another I'm ready to dip. Get in the stomach. Still kind of mad, but I gotta be honest. The fool on the drip. Somebody save me. I'm going crazy. Pop me a Percocet 30.
This man's not
I need a Lambo. I need a Rari. I need a Bentley.
Now, does that young man look like he's suffering from racism in America? Does he look particularly fearful that there are white people around him, that they're going to do something to him? Nope. As I said, what we are suffering from actually in this country is extreme entitlement. So, Black America and all of America, if you are willing to listen to what I have been saying, because an element of this, of course, is people that are suffering from white guilt and a fear of being called racist. The people that are sitting around there not saying anything. I would have said something so quickly. As you guys know, I am constantly talking to people about their inappropriate behavior in airports. And of course, it's not just Black Americans. It's also white Americans, as we've covered on this show. But what Black America is actually suffering from, how we got here, is because of extreme welfarism, which brings me to Martin Luther.
Country can tolerate such. No, not even in Africa.
King Jr., who believed in the radical redistribution of wealth. Yes, an element of Marxism in which he supported. We'll just take money from people and redistribute it. And an era was born. Lyndon Baines Johnson, an avowed racist that sat in the White House, said, what about the Great Society Act? What about if the government incentivized you to behave poorly so that you could never get ahead in life? And here is the truth. And I really want you to listen here. Don't be offended, because it is a fact. Black Americans were outpacing white Americans in this country in terms of economic growth before the dissolution of Jim Crow policies. Why? Because our families were together. Again, I want you to picture what you just saw on the streets of Harlem. And then after the government got involved, and after they insisted on welfare policies and the radical redistribution of wealth, everything came down. Government knew what they were doing. It was Machiavellian. They knew that if they married Black Americans to government and they incentivized poor behavior that you just watched in the airport, I will be willing to bet anything that that individual, who I don't know his name or his background, grew up without a father in the home. The systemic breakdown of family. It began with that. What's happened since? Well, it's what LBJ predicted when he said that he would have those N-words voting Democrat for the next 60 years. That is the predicament that we are in. So should we be celebrating MLK? Should we be celebrating him and his vision for the country? Outside, of course, of some things that he said, which we know were obviously great, right? Obviously, it's a good idea to say that we should be judging people not on the basis of their skin color, but on the basis of their character. That speaks to a meritocracy, and that flies in the face of demanding a radical distribution of wealth. That doesn't make any sense. But outside of that, outside of the fluffy words and his I have a dream speech, what are the actual consequences of welfarism? You're looking at them. Now, I appreciate that Black Americans are waking up, and as I said at the beginning of this, I don't know if it's too late. It will remain to be seen. So in conclusion, here is what I will say. Everybody has a day off, right? I mean, not only because it's a snow day, but because MLK Jr. is now a federal holiday. And maybe what we should be doing as families is spending this day in reflection. Have we actually built a better America? Do the government want it to be a better America? What will America look like now that we do have this influx of illegal immigrants? And they are essentially saying, what we did to Black America, yeah, let's try it on this new population. Let's also marry them to governance and get them voting for us, presumably for the next 200 years.
quote me anywhere, guys. No country can tolerate that awkward behavior. Allow immigrants to take over your land. For what? Where is it done? Guys, it's not too late to wake up. Wake up, fight for your dear country. And blacks, see, if you destroy your country, where will you go to? See, you don't even know how good you have it over there. Protect your country, behave well. It's not hard to abide to rules and regulations. You have everything at your beck and call. Why not utilize it? It's not hard to abide to rules and regulations of your country. You have everything working out for you. Why do you want to destroy it? I wish every black have Candace kind of mindset. When you see something wrong, you call it out, regardless of the skin color. Blacks, you can do better. Guys, see you on the next one. Be at peace with yourself and with all mankind. Support me by watching, liking, and subscribing. Thank you so much for watching. Bye bye.